To welcome you to the startup video and setup video for the Lil'D-Make polymer feed system. Lil'D-Make is an online polymer feed system. It's designed to mix water and polymer together in a ratio of roughly 200:1 to 500:1. The polymer and the water mix together and it's fully activated through this machine, and then it's routed to your application point, whether it be a clarifier, a centrifuge, a DAF, whatever the case may be. The first thing we want to do is, after you obviously take it out of the box, is locate it where it will be used. Some places will be outdoors, some places will be indoors. If it's outdoors, all the components are NEMA rated. However, we do discourage direct washdown and high pressure hose activity with the unit, and it's also a good idea to cover it from the sun and protect it from the elements. If it's inside, most of these things don't apply. So the first thing you would want to do is identify where you want to spot the unit, set it into place where it's preferably clean, dry, not flooded, and accessible from all sides. Once the unit is set in place, the first thing you want to do is plumb your dilution water source to the unit. The dilution water will be plumbed in to the lower incoming 3/4 inch or 1 inch nipple, depending on which machine you have. The water source should be no greater than 100 pounds of pressure. It should be greater than probably 40 or 50 pounds of pressure, because it's the water pressure that carries the solution through the machine and out to your application point. The water should be potable. If it has to be reused water, it should be filtered with a 25 micron pre-filter, and it should not be over 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Once you've plumbed the water inlet, the next thing we need to do is plumb the solution outlet, which is this point right here. And that's a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch threaded male nipple, depending on the machine that you order. And that will be routed to your application point. We recommend that your outlet piping be 1/2 inch inside diameter at a minimum. We do not recommend using smaller diameter than that. Once the machine is in place, the water is plumbed and the solution outlet is plumbed, the next thing you need to do is plumb your polymer supply inlet. You will use the acrylic tubing that's supplied with 5/8 inside diameter. That will be put on the hose barb, and then we'll use the hose clamp to clamp that on. The other end of the tube should likewise have a hose barb that's connected to your 55-gallon drum or tote bin or bulk tank, whatever the case may be. We highly recommend using a flooded suction at all times, but if you need to install it so that the pump is drawing uphill, bear in mind that this pump will only draw about 36 inches uphill. If you try to go more than that, you could lose prime. Next, we're going to discuss how to prime the unit. You will remove that tubing from that fitting. Use the syringe that's provided. Assuming now that we have the polymer supply plumbed to the pump suction, you will insert a syringe into the tubing and draw on it, and you'll go through that motion a number of times until you've drawn the polymer all the way up to this point. When that's done, you can go ahead and reassemble this system, and the unit is plumbed, primed, and ready to go. At that point, you'll want to take the extension cord and plug it into a hot grounded outlet. The junction box that's supplied with the unit has an on-off switch. the solenoid valve and the chemical pump are both wired through this switch. So once the unit is put into place, plumbed, and plugged into a hot outlet, we're ready to start operating. The first thing we want to do is turn the switch on, in which case the solenoid valve is going to open. That will allow water to flow through the unit. You'll open this valve and establish water flow rate through the unit and onto your application point. We do not want to start feeding polymer yet. We want to make sure there's no leaks downstream anywhere in the piping system. If there are any leaks, it's suggested that you repair the leaks so that everything is tight and sound. Once we're flowing water, then we can go ahead and turn on the chemical pump and start feeding polymer. And what you will see is the white polymer coming through the static mixer, showing that it's being activated and it's ready to go for your application. Most units as delivered have manual pump control, which means you can control the output of the pump by selecting a couple of different levers on the pump. The upper knob is the speed knob. These pumps run from 0 to 100 strokes per minute, and this knob indicates where you're at on the 0 to 100 range. This is your stroke length knob, the lower large knob, and that indicates how far the shaft travels and how much chemical is put out with each stroke. The higher the number, the more chemical is delivered. This knob should never be turned if the pump is not operating, or you could cause damage to the pump. Once you're up and running, the last thing to do is adjust your polymer feed rate and water usage rate to obtain the best possible results in your system. We do recommend that you maintain a minimum flow rate of water around at least the halfway point in your water rotometer. It's very important that you never run this unit without water flow. If you pump chemical into this system without water flow, you can end up with agglomerations and actual system pluggage, so that's to be avoided at all possible costs. As you can see, the unit is very small, very simple to operate, and we're quite sure that you'll be very pleased with the results. There's very few moving parts, so there's really nothing that's going to break for you. I think you'll be very pleased with the reliability aspects of the unit and the performance aspects. So we thank you for watching this video, and thank you for using the Lil'D-Make unit.